tramp and sounded in a this a Iowa. This a our sitting, our sitting, our sitting, our sitting, our sitting in a this a Iowa. This a big sound pan
I needed a economical option to get around town as a second vehicle to work and back. And we were actually looking at a Mazda 2 or a Honda Civic. And cousin Howie said, no, let's buy an electric vehicle. That was far-fetched in our mind at the idea, right? That don't work in Jamaica where we're going to charge it. After doing some research, we found out that, it can work. And we said, all right, if anything, if it fails, we have the RAV4. So that was our thinking at the time. I guess like within 2 weeks of owning the car, we were just convinced that why we didn't do this earlier.
So your gasoline diesel vehicle or CNG, since we have CNG here now, is an internal combustion engine. So it requires petrol, diesel for fueling. It has way more moving parts compared to an electric vehicle, EV, which requires electricity for fuel, charging a battery, and then the battery is used to propel the wheels of the vehicle.
All right, so this is the Evergo app. So I can use a card or I can use an app to initiate the charge it. So you go here and you select the plug type. So this is a CHAdeMO. And it shows you what the CHAdeMO is, and you just click charge. And okay, since the plug is connected, when it starts charging, there we go. The blue lights are on the car. And here it tells you the charging level and speed. And we thought that, well, why we can't keep this to ourselves? Why not just document our experience on YouTube? And we said, all right, let's do that. Buy a camera. And I was camera shy. The initial idea was for Kimmy. She have the cuter looks and everything to be the face of Plug in Jamaica. But
Hi, I'm Camarine, and welcome to Plug in Jamaica's YouTube channel. Here we will discuss electric vehicles, or EVs, how they work, the advantages and disadvantages of having an electric vehicle, their impact on the environment, how they compare to internal combustion engines, and especially how much money you can save by driving an electric vehicle.
Obviously, the big buzzword and the kind of subsector of the automotive industry is electric mobility. When you're talking about electric mobility, you're talking about new technology. So you're talking about people taking a leap from what they know, i.e. combustion engine cars, internal combustion engine cars, ICE cars. You're overcoming certain misconceptions and myths about the technology, such as range anxiety, cost of charging, and how long it takes to charge, and things like that. Some of the early electric vehicles would have had a pretty modest range. Let's just say that, maybe 100 kilometers or something. And now you're talking about cars with 400 or 500 kilometer range.
Long time we not no nice time, so we decide to go and take the club tonight. With the queen by the side and the split for life. The stress build up inside now seems so light. Like fresh cut, face shave, just bathe. And me babes, she a put on a dress and a makeup. Just to impress our best self and bless our dreams be manifesting, yeah. Touchdown, ground shake, crowd rave, earthquake.
I'm Nikolai Cohen, Secretary of the Jamaica Electric Vehicle Association. We're about a 2-year-old organization now, actually more than 2 years, because we were born out of COVID. We came together to advocate for electric vehicle adoption, electric vehicle usage, and also policy to help drive policy from the government side for the adoption and the use of electric vehicle, and also to work with the grid owners, because part of the association we have dealers, new and used car dealers, private power and public power from JPS and Evergo included from a charging perspective. So we span almost the entire I would say ecosystem for the electric vehicle to be able to adopt electric vehicles in Jamaica and use them in I would say in an efficient way.
Jamaica has a goal of increasing their renewable energy usage, and eMOBILITY and eDrive is definitely a great way to facilitate that.
I think I was shared information about the program through a colleague. I live in St. Elizabeth, so the options down there in terms of like industrial settings and places relating to renewable energy, they were limited, but they were unique. As you know, the only wind farms in Jamaica are in St. Elizabeth and Manchester.
One big takeaway from this is that sometimes you should try to step out your comfort zone.
I'm still benefiting from that training up until now because I'm currently like interning at the only other wind farm.
There are sensitization and training programs that eDrive has put out. They have partnered with Heart Trust NTA to train technicians and first responders, as well as interns like myself who are being educated in the world of electric vehicles, how they operate, the behind the scenes. So this project really has been a great initiative for eMOBILITY in Jamaica, and I believe that it only gets better from here.
For the internship program, where we had a really good intern, Khalil was his name, who we brought on for a summer, and he worked with us not only on EV installations, but solar installations, etc. And that really kind of got our involvement with eDrive, and we really, anytime we could be a part of what eDrive was doing, we would definitely volunteer or make ourselves available.
JPS definitely set the stage for me in terms of my career. They gave me my first shot at, some marine engineering, and it has definitely prepared me for work here at German to Prepare Jamaica. And I must say, I am eternally grateful for this opportunity.
IDB Lab is an innovation hub, which is part of the Inter-American Development Bank. IDB Lab leverages its financing, its expertise and connections to promote entrepreneurship and innovation in Latin America and the Caribbean. Climate change is a real challenge today, not only for Jamaica, but also for the world. And IDB has a mandate, the mandate to tackle those climate challenges and help countries develop resiliency. Project eDrive falls perfectly within this mandate, as it helps displace fossil fuels, which can be quite expensive, but also decrease CO2 emissions. And we have today over $450 million of financing available for EV ownership. And we really hope that we will be able to deploy these resources to fund very important EV projects and help countries such as Jamaica reach its sustainability goals. This project included a gender lens, which is something very dear to me because it afforded women more training to be better prepared for the new opportunities that would come with this technology.
How do we create the electric mobility market? It's actually building a new market within Jamaica. We're very happy that the IDB Lab was excited to work with JPS Foundation on it, right? Very few people have electric vehicles. We want to see electric vehicle transportation in Jamaica. Why? We believe that Jamaica has to be very active in its own everyday activities to get to reducing our own carbon footprints. Transportation is a big part of that, and therefore, as JPS, since this is talking about moving into electric vehicles, we felt that it was an important role for us to participate in that. So we stepped out through the foundation, embraced it, and we believe that, advancing this agenda to reduce the carbon emissions in our private and public fleets is critical for our nation tomorrow. We are significantly affected by climate change, so we have to do our part.
It calls for extremely heightened and strong partnerships and stakeholder engagements. You need stakeholder engagements with the regulator, government, private sector, academic institutions, and I could go on and on. But those are some key institutions whereby you need heightened and strong stakeholder engagement. We here at JPS are committed to doing just that, and the eMOBILITY program that we have here and the partnerships with the IDB Lab is one example of what that look like. We will now just build on that foundation going forward, but one common theme is heightened stakeholder engagement with key stakeholders to unlock these opportunities.
Hi, BYD. Open sunroof. I was looking around and I was saying, when I was looking around, I saw some vehicles that I liked which weren't, electric. And when you think about buying a new vehicle and you have to pay a loan and you have to buy gas, I was saying, wow, this is going to be hard. But when I saw this vehicle, I saw it advertised on YouTube and I did my research and I said, okay, I could pay the same amount for the loan and then I could save on buying basically charging. Also, you can check your charging history. So for example, in October, I spent $10,772.37, which is really good. And I charge once a week, so yeah. I only use Charge and Go because it's by far the cheapest and most convenient.
As an energy company, we have a responsibility to our environment. And so as we look forward to development in our industry, we believe in clean energy. That's where the JPS Foundation comes in. We want to encourage the sustainability of our energy sector through introducing clean energy. And so the eDrive project was our vehicle through which we would achieve this objective. We know based on what's happening within our environment, there's no question that climate change is here. It has been developing over some time, but even for those who may have doubted the impact of climate change, the hurricanes, the storms, the wildfires that we've seen overseas, these unusual weather events tells us that we have to do something in order to be more resilient to what's happening in our environment. And so JPS Foundation is going to be playing a major role in ensuring sustainability within the energy sector, and eDrive fits squarely in that.
So Forge Dynamics was formed specifically for EV charging infrastructure and design. Me branching out onto EV charging is because I saw the need for that infrastructure in Jamaica. We try to match the charger to the person who is using it and also the car itself. We just kind of try to do an interview with the customer first, feel out that personality, because you might be dealing with an elderly person and they might be like, hey, I don't want to log into an app and have to be doing anything. I want to plug in my car and just walk out and it's charging by itself. So we do have chargers that will facilitate something like that. So this is pretty much our setup, our routine setup when we're doing an installation. We have our drills, like hammer drills to cut through walls. We have our impactor to screw in the screws and stuff. And then over here, we have the different breakers that we would use. So we don't use all the breakers each time, but we do normally have a variety depending on the customer's panel. So if their panel doesn't have something, we can swap out or adjust it to make it function.
Apart from the use of no gas, I don't need to go any specific place to charge. As you can see, I'm actually charging at my house. So that alone, the convenience, the efficiency, and the cost factor, and I'm going to repeat, the cost factor is definitely something that pushed me towards EV. And 4 years now operating EVs, I wouldn't turn back.
Give thanks, so when me I bleed. Set speed, I carry on now. Big man in town, them shoulda know say me I keep it ground. Yeah. Plant seeds, work feed. Well, enough of them want ready born.
My name is Oliver Hill. I am CEO of Tropical Mobility and the current president of the Jamaica Electric Vehicle Association, JIVA. We've been building a portfolio of products from electric motorbikes to electric ATVs, to electric passenger vehicles, so that we can essentially provide options for those who want to reduce their carbon footprint and actually experience an improved drive. Electric vehicles are actually better than combustion vehicles in many ways. Importantly for us in the Caribbean, they're better because we can use our own indigenous energy sources to propel them, and that's namely solar power. Solar power is now the least expensive source of electricity, and we have an abundance of sunshine in Jamaica.
Solar is very popular. There's a lot of people just installing now or calling themselves installers, and it's easier because the equipment has become more consolidated into less pieces. So it's easier for someone to just install a system and oversize it. But once you start adding heavy loads, such as an electric vehicle, you really need to focus on the safety aspects of things. In our engineering has become more fine-tuned to really say, look, can we handle an electric vehicle on these solar systems we're installing? So it makes us now look to better quality inverters, higher capacity inverters, tested and proven battery brands, etc. So the safety aspects for our clients are becoming a lot more top of mind for us.
All right, folks, we're asking when you're posting your videos and your photos to social media to use the hashtag EV5Jamaica. Use the hashtag EV5Jamaica.
I think this would be perfect for Jamaica. Similar in size to the Kia Sportage or RAV4 or CRV. And I think it trumps all of those cars easily. Even the hybrids in those models won't be able to compete with savings on this. So 8.995. I was hoping for a little lower, but I mean, I can't complain. Comparing to the other cars, it's in the same price bracket. And I think it would be a good if you're a family of 4, looking something to carry the kids to school, get to work. You want to go out of town for the weekend, I think this would be a really good car.
A couple of years ago, I joined forces with several other stakeholders in the emerging electric mobility space in Jamaica to establish the Jamaica Electric Vehicle Association.
As part of the association, we have dealers, new and used car dealers, private power and public power from JPS and Evergo included from a charging perspective. So we span almost the entire I would say, ecosystem for the electric vehicle.
Motivation to do so was really to have an industry association that could lobby and really enable both the private sector and government to begin adopting electric vehicles in a thoughtful way.
While we've been progressing, it's been slow progress because at the announcement of 1,000 vehicles a year, we've not even reached 500. So that limit was removed, but we still haven't even reached 500 vehicles on the road yet. So it's slow progress. What I would like to see change, one is the age limit for used vehicles to come in, because let's face it, 80% of imports into the Caribbean are used vehicles. When you're having a 3-year limit on a second-hand EV, how many persons can still afford that price point? So price point is key for the adoption to take place.
There was uncertainty about battery life. Like, batteries, the cars that we sell typically come with an 8-year warranty on the battery, that it will have 60% of its lifespan at the end of 8 years. So there's this question that if we introduce to the market older EVs, older batteries, not liquid-cooled batteries, what will be the result, right? Will we end up with a landfill problem with batteries? Will we develop a market to repair batteries or resurrect batteries? So it's risky. And one of the things we wanted to make sure was that if we're going to give a concession for the importation of electric vehicles, that concession has value, that people will embrace electric technology.
It's really important, and again, this is why we established JIVA. It's really important to bring together the movers and the shakers who can actually move the needle.
The eDrive project has various components, and a big part of what the project tried to achieve was training. So while you could introduce the concept of electric mobility, while we could have industry players, importing EVs, for it to be sustainable, we need to have so many components of that ecosystem established, and training was a big part of that.
Well, thankfully to Project eDrive, the Jamaica Fire Brigade would have benefited from training as it relates to battery handling, fire suppression techniques, and emergency response strategies as it comes on to treating with EV emergencies. Comes with a little challenge because it means you have to improve on the knowledge that you would have had as it relates to search and rescue, as well as pre-hospital care. It means a lot of research. It means, therefore, in terms of our equipment stock, we would have to do more in terms of research in order to be on par or ahead of the EV era.
Right, so the course that we are currently offering at the Mona campus is about electromobility. And this particular course covers fundamentals of EV technologies, The aim is to introduce students across different departments and faculties at the university to the area of electric mobility, helping them to gain an appreciation of the different technologies that are involved in the whole rollout of the EV infrastructure. So among the things that we cover in this course are the life cycle assessment of EVs, where we look at the different phases involved in the development of EVs, the car itself, and also the batteries, from the mining of the materials, the use phase, and the end of life phase. So EVs are here. There's no doubt about it, and they're coming, their adoption is increasing, and it is important that our graduates are able to appreciate EVs and be able to work in this space. They will be going in fields that require them to make decisions, business decisions, and help them to, the aim is for them to be able to understand and help the wider public to better appreciate everything that there is about EVs.
You have other major players in the automobile industry as well who would have reached out to us and encouraged us that, look, this is nothing to be fearful of. This is a strategic direction that the world is going as it relates to energy transition, and they would stood by us throughout the process to ensure that we are better trained and equipped to treat with these emergencies.
The two main benefits of an e-mobility industry for Jamaica sit squarely in the environmental side and the economic side. On the environmental side, it is clear it's about clean energy, less greenhouse gas emissions. And on the economic side, when we talk about the professionals that we're training, that we are creating more employment opportunities within the industry. And gas is more expensive than electricity. So in the long run, when you have to buy fuel for the average Jamaican, it will be cheaper in terms of the maintenance of the vehicle, in terms of buying gas. Initially, when we started, the cost of EVs may have seemed prohibitive, but as the industry developed and as the market is being opened, with competition comes more competitive prices. And so our drive is to ensure that it becomes accessible for the regular Jamaican. And so we want everyone to benefit from the advantages that come with an e-mobility sector.
My name is Wayne Mackenzie. I'm the president and CEO for Evergo Jamaica. It's as everybody knows, the largest, most sophisticated charging network in the Caribbean that not just introduced the comfort of charging, but for people who was EV to feel comfortable driving their vehicles. My first experience of driving an EV had range anxiety because we had one in Kingston, we had another one in Montego Bay. And one of the things about driving electric vehicles is it changes how you drive, it changes how you think, you have to plan ahead. One of the barriers for EV adoption is the whole range anxiety issue, right? So range anxiety is that feeling of wondering if you're gonna make it. Am I gonna run out of charge? Am I gonna be stuck on the side of the road and the Grim Reaper come and slaughter you on the side of the road, right? Some people probably that imaginative, I don't know. But I mean, for me, how that worked out was that I would drive to work without the AC on, windows up, so that the car slipped through the air, hoping to reach the work with enough to come back home, because I wasn't sure if I could charge at work. There's a corporate responsibility on the decarbonization front, and Evergo is part of that calculation, right? So in the metrics of the decarbonization process, we're looking at energy conversion using renewable, whether it's sun or wind, and then we're looking on the transport side of charging. When I just started in energy, we didn't have more than about 13 megawatts of renewable solution. We have more than 100 megawatts now. It has grown, and it's growing. The government just concluded an RFP for 100 megawatts more of renewable solar solution, and those are replacing thermal. So on the electric side, we are participating in that transition, and on the transport side, we're also participating in the transition.
What does that look like to incentivize electrification of that particular sector? That also now includes charging stations, Because you have a chicken or the egg dynamic, whereby what do you do first? The charging stations or the electric vehicles? Now, we as a utility are committed to leading the way in this aspect and going forward and implementing charging stations through the island, so that would unlock the opportunities and incentivize more electric vehicles. Whereby, if one says going from, say, Kingston to Montego Bay, that's over 100 miles, there are multiple charging stations along the way. As you know, when you talk about e-mobility, one of the big things of concern is range anxiety. And I can reassure folks that we have adequate charging stations along the way right now between JPS and other stakeholders, whereby folks will be able to get a charge on their vehicle.
So JPS Charge and Go brainchild, of JPS, as how could we as a business support and accelerate the development of the sector? And one of the clear issues was infrastructure for charging. In fact, I learned very early on that one of the criteria that these new car dealers use, whether they send the EVs to a market, is how much chargers you have on island. The company decided that we had to make bold steps to ensure the introduction of electric vehicles to this island. We are very proud of the vision and the innovativeness of our own leadership team to drive the development of this sector. 2 electric vehicles, 3 charging stations internally were our first move. And today, we have made the move of public charging facilities. We have been collaborating with so many stakeholders, and we really do appreciate the interest from government, private sector, multilateral agencies that have given their 150% support to see this transition of our transportation sector from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles. What a difference that will make on our environment.
For me, when I think about EVs, I think about us here in Jamaica and how we can benefit, because we have the unlimited resource of the sun, we have wind, we even have hydro energy. We as a state, Jamaica, should not be dependent on imported fossil fuels to fuel manufacturing, transportation, etc. We should be looking at renewable sources of energy and seeing how can it benefit us as Jamaicans. And I think e-mobility, whether it be a car, a bike, bicycle, whatever means of transportation, it should be sustainable, it should be clean, should be healthy. And I think that that's the real benefit for me when it comes to e-mobility. So don't even mention the savings. I've spoken about the savings, how much money you can keep in your pocket with EVs. The real selling point is for the future, our health, our environment. It just makes sense. So in the next 5 to 10 years, Jamaicans, the choice is ours. I see fuel prices only going up. Oil is a depleting resource. It's going to end one day. So I just see it as a natural step into the next thing.
There are big questions around, will electric cars stand up in our harsh conditions? And what do I mean by harsh conditions? So we have high temperatures, say, compared to China. For example, the rough road conditions is more arduous than, say, European roads or Chinese roads, where most of these cars are. So what the IDB did was to find corporate customers, and Carreras was one and JPS was one, where we could introduce vehicles into their fleets through our leasing company, JAMAICA, and we could get long-term information about usage. And what came out of that whole process was that they were more economical to operate. So the total cost of operation during the first year or so was clearly in the favor of EVs.
The project eDrive has been actually fantastic in laying a foundation. We believe that's a foundation that JPS has to build on. And so currently we're actually going through the various areas. We think the collaboration with training, public education is a must. We have to stay in that space. This is not just about electricity, it's about nation building and making sure that we have a better nation tomorrow. And so the foundation is also already advancing that through their climate change event to come. And we're looking at how can we continue to work with HEART to build out those capacity building skill sets. And of course, on my side now with the infrastructure, we believe that Jamaica has to have an equivalent and even more electric vehicle network, EV charging network than the gas stations. You have to have a similar network. So one of the things that we're looking at is how can we participate in that. Government is very clear to us, this is a competitive space. It's not going to be a monopoly. So we sit on both sides. We sit on the side of how do we enable and how do we participate. So we are very, very clear that we want to be on the front edge, leading edge of the technology. Where the technology going, we're going to be piloting that, showcasing it across the board, as well as investing in additional chargers across the island.
We're really going to, partner with anybody that's going to play a positive and active role in developing and evolving this technology. So JPS, for example, have been great partners of us. Evergo have been great partners. And others. I mean, we put some charging stations at the AC Hotel. They're actually some of the first chargers ever, in Jamaica. We did that with the local Forge Dynamics. Solar Buzz are great partners of ours. They're one of our, approved installers. So, we're trying constantly to expand, the charging infrastructure. It's a really big deal. JPS are perfectly positioned to play a leading role in this evolution of the automotive industry. We work with them, very closely. We need them, they need us. We can't operate in isolation of each other. So we are always looking for new partnerships, new initiatives, new programs that we can tap into. That's going to make it more accessible to people. If you're interested in our electric car, but also kind of alleviating some of these concerns. But not just that, but actually exciting people about the future of electric mobility.
I am in the presence of family. Family not because of the bonds we've built, but because of the shared vision, collaboration, and effort that has brought us to this moment. As we officially bring eDrive to a close, I'd like to reflect on what this initiative has achieved, the challenges we've overcome, and most importantly, the foundation we've laid for Jamaica's electric mobility future. Project eDrive started as an ambitious vision to not only promote electric mobility, but to build the capacity, awareness, and infrastructure needed to make it a reality in Jamaica. Over the years, this project has evolved into something much bigger than we anticipated. It became a movement, a platform for education and empowerment, and a catalyst for collaboration across sectors. From primary school workshops to high-level stakeholder engagement, eDrive has touched lives in tangible ways.
As we close the chapter on Project eDrive, let's remember that this is not an end, but it's a new beginning. The skills we have built, the infrastructure we have established, and the relationships we have nurtured are just the foundation. The electric e-mobility ecosystem we have created is growing and will soon evolve into a widespread, sustainable, and thriving sector. More than 200 battery electric vehicles are on the road. The training programs are in place. Entrepreneurs are scaling. Charging stations are operational. And most importantly, our communities are empowered, educated, and motivated.
As we close this chapter, let us continue to carry forward the energy, passion, and collaboration that has defined eDrive. Together, we can continue to create a brighter future for future generations. Thank you.